Oh, okay. Well, I was gonna cut it off, if it was.
I think we're live, guys, if I got it to work right here. So, hello,
Yeah,
everybody.
just started.
Yeah.
Hello. I was just explaining to them I'm having some issues with my camera, but I'm going to continue to work on that and hopefully have it up and running here in a minute. But we didn't want to leave anybody waiting that was hopefully waiting for the show. And I think most people that I know are. My name's Ashley Hill. I'm from Kentucky, and I hadn't got to meet you, Clarissa. I'm with Newsom Paranormal here in Kentucky,
Okay.
and also, I work together with David on this podcast, and he can kind of introduce himself, and then we'll turn it over and let you do a little intro and give us a little background on yourself, Clarissa. Okay?
Okay. Sure.
Well, of course, you know me, David Hope. Uh, I have a Dark Hope Paranormal, part of the P3, lead investigator for G Crypt Paranormal, the Lubbock, Texas division. But let's talk about you.
Okay. So I'm Clarissa. I am a medium. I am a paranormal investigator. I met David a couple weeks ago on one of my shows. He tuned in for that when I was doing live readings. I've been investigating for, publicly investigating for probably about 7 years. I've been a public medium for probably about the same amount of time. I am a medium with Things. It's a group here in Indiana. They also run Things Network. Sorry, my dog's scratching at something. I don't know what he's messing with. If you could hear that. I have my own podcast. And I run my own platform on all the social medias out there, and I interview people too. But this time, tables are turned, and I get to be the interviewee. So I'm looking forward to this.
Yeah, it's great to have you.
Thank you.
We're thrilled that you agreed to jump on today. We really are. And I know we also, I look forward to people getting to watch your show. We want to promote that as well. And I did put the links on the advertisement for this to all your, different YouTube channels and everything that you've got, Clarissa, so that people can maybe click to follow you and add and be able to watch your shows too.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you for that.
And that says Tennessee Paranormal Sam is there. That's Sam. We've had him on the show before. Hi, Sam. We're glad that you joined in.
Hello.
How's it going, Sam?
He has a group there in Tennessee, and I know they've got some things coming up. I think he's pretty close to some an old hospital. I forgot what the name of it is. That I think he was hoping to go there and do an investigation soon.
Is it Old South Pittsburgh?
Yes, that is it. I think it's like an hour from him, and I believe that their team's planning on going there next, I think. So that'll be really good.
I've been there.
You have?
Yes. I'm from Indiana. I didn't say that, but so I'm just the neighbor to the north. And Old South Pittsburgh is an 8-hour drive for me, but it was worth it.
Yeah. Was it really active when you were there?
It was. We had a really good night. We had a very small group of us that went. It was a couple of friends of mine in the field that invited me to come along. So took the trip down there, and it was really good. We got a lot of audible, actual audible, not on EVP, but you could hear it yourself, like babies crying and all that. So yeah.
Oh wow.
You could actually hear it. So
man.
Yeah, it was good. Definitely recommend.
There he says he's doing good. Won't know how we are, and then he's also saying he's just shared it out on his community page as well, because I know he has all the sites too, YouTube and things of that nature. So that's good. We appreciate that. So have you been anywhere recently, Clarissa? I know you said you've been there to that hospital, but what's your most recent investigation y'all done?
Most recent. I feel like I was just somewhere. That was March 4th. I tend around holidays time, I slow down on my investigation. And then as the spring comes, then I start picking up locations and all that. Unless I have residentials, I do residentials. But March 4th, I actually went to the Geyer Opera House. It's located here in Louisville, Indiana. So it's just east of Indianapolis. And it's an old opera house. It's got the prop room. It's got 2 separate basements you can investigate. It's a really cool, neat place to go. That was my last, and that was a last minute planned investigation because I didn't have one planned until April. But I kind of have an addiction to ghost hunting. So I booked one last minute because I just had that itch to get out ghost hunting. So we booked the Geyer Opera House, and then my next one's going to be in April.
Well, that sounds good though. I mean, that sounds like it would be that's really good. And I think that a lot of people, once they get into it, get that addiction to it. Once they get a taste of it, you know, they're really intrigued by it, and it's like they keep thinking, okay, where can I go next?
Yep.
You know what I mean?
Always coming up with the next places. I've booked probably, I think, I've booked 3 myself, and then I get invited to go because I made a lot of friends in the field. So I get invited, so I'll tag along, and I probably have like 7 booked between now and July, I would say. So yeah, very busy. Yeah, for sure. Hey, there you are.
Hey,
We see you.
let's see. Okay, I've switched out from my computer here.
Okay.
Just a minute.
Yeah, if you have a speaker on, it's probably picking that up. That's why I wear a headset.
I need to get one,
Yeah.
but my sons always take them.
Oh, my kids do too. I buy them and then they disappear, and I'm like, where'd they go?
That's me too. I had what had happened was when I had to join on my phone because I couldn't get the camera to work on the computer. But when I joined in, I hadn't turned the sound off on the computer, so it was getting sound through both. It was making an echo, so I had to fix that. But and I didn't want to turn the computer completely off because it would have ended the broadcast where I started it there, and I'm not too sure. I was afraid of putting everybody off. So, but I think I've got it lined out, so it's working okay now.
Yep. Looks good. Sounds good.
Okay, great. Well, did you have anything in particular you're wanting to ask David?
I'm an open book. You can ask me just about anything. I really am an open book. I've been very public in the field, so whatever you want to ask, go for it.
Well, when did you, as far as I was just curious about, like, you know, where you do the psychic readings and things, like when that started and when you figured out that you were able to do that?
Yeah, so it's kind of weird because a lot of psychic mediums you meet are like, oh, I've known since I was a child. And, you know, I had paranormal experiences as a child, but I really never attempted to read anybody. I just always knew I was very intuitive. I kind of just understood people. I kind of understood situations, where they were going to go, just had a natural ability to that stuff. But it wasn't until I was probably in my later 20s when I decided I wanted to jump into all this paranormal, because I don't even watch the paranormal shows. Like, it wasn't something that I just watched. Like, a lot of people watch them and they're intrigued and they want to get involved, but that's not something. I just kind of had this feeling I just wanted to get into it. So I started doing readings publicly online on the free platforms. So if you go to Facebook, you can type in like psychic reading group and you could go on there and read for people. So I actually went on to one and I was like, hey, I just want to test this out. Like, because I feel like I have a gift, but I don't want to just say I have a gift without getting confirmation. So I did it kind of in the most weirdest way. And, you know, some people do it this way and then they never go public with it. But I did. And I read for somebody just via chat. So no photos, no video, nothing, just via chat. And it clicked. Like, it just clicked. It just happened. It just kept going. I was like, hey, I got something here. And so I tried a couple other people reading for them, and then I decided I was going to start my own page and my own medium page and start going to conventions. And I did my first face-to-face readings at a con, which was nerve-wracking, and I did them for free, which I will never do again at a con because the door lines up when you're a free medium. And it was for like a special event. So I was only in the booth for like an hour or two. And it just kept going. And I kept getting confirmation from who I was reading to. And I always had really weird interactions as a child when it came to the deceased. So as a child, like I would get really nervous and anxious around graveyards, which is kind of normal, but I would just like shut down. I would look away and I'd hide my face. Like, I'm afraid if they see me, then if I see them and they see me, then there's going to be an interaction there. Right. And so I would have that. And then pictures on like TV shows, whether they're deceased or not, it would just make me super anxious and nervous. And I would just always have these feelings that I'm just like, they're looking at me or they're getting ready to talk to me or something. And I do a lot of my online readings with photos now, when as a child, I was terrified of staring at a photograph because they were like speaking to me. And as a child, I just didn't think anything of it. I didn't grow up around a family that was religious. I kind of was able to do my own thing, learn my own belief system, all that stuff. So I didn't have any specific guidance, which I personally prefer now. A lot of people are different, but some people would prefer guidance, but I'm glad I didn't have it. So yeah, it's like, you just don't know and understand what's going on there as a child. So as I got older, I realized I was pretty much started connecting dots in my late 20s, like, okay. And then there was just a sense of, assurance that I had when I started doing readings. Like, I felt like I was on an actual path in life. Like, I went to school and I went to college and I had kids and I was on these normal living paths, but I never was really on a spiritual path because I didn't have religion in my life. So when I entered into this, I started becoming more spiritual. I started believing in more of a higher power and all that. And I didn't have that. I was probably more of an agnostic person before I got into this field. And it's almost made me more of a believer than, some people kind of go the opposite way. They stop believing in it and they start debunking stuff. But I'm like, no, I believe in a higher power now. So, yeah.
Don't you think that more people do start having more belief? It seems to me like more people I talk to, it makes their beliefs stronger. It might change their beliefs a little bit, but it makes them strong in what they believe when they actually get like tangible evidence or information, and it sounds like you were just getting an influx of information even from a young age, but you didn't know it or know what to do with it. You know what I mean?
Right, exactly. I didn't have any guidance. I didn't have any of that stuff. So it's like, I thought I just had which I do have anxiety, natural, normal human anxieties, but I just thought I was like overly paranoid for some reason. Apparently it's because something was trying to come through to me and I didn't understand it.
I think that's a commonality too, is that when you talk to people with not just with all types of gifts that people have, once they kind of embrace them and start learning about them and learn how to control them and develop those, they do have that sense of I'm on the path I'm supposed to be on. Finally, like that relief almost of figuring it out. You know what I mean?
Yep.
I think that you hear a lot of people say that like, I felt better once I realized what this was, or was able to at least understand it better. But I think that's great that you're able to help people. And I can't imagine going to a conference with hundreds and hundreds of people and offering anything for free.
Right.
I just wonder they didn't like tackle you on the floor.
Yeah. Lesson learned. It wasn't like hundreds, but there were probably like 50 people there at this, this section of the convention for that short period of time. And Never again will I do this for free. I actually don't even do readings at conventions anymore. I did for a while and I did charge for a while, but I've just been going as to convention. I've just been going as part of things, the paranormal team. I'm sorry, my dogs are fighting right next to me.
I love animals. David likes him. We've both got dogs at our house. I think him and his wife have got 2 or 3 dogs, and I've got a pug and a German
You have
Shepherd.
a pug?
I have a pug. Yeah, hang on, let me see.
Oh
I'm
my
showing.
God. Guys, I love pugs.
Here's Daisy. Say hi.
Hey.
She's gonna bark at everybody. Yeah. And then I've got a German Shepherd Lab here too, but he's too big to get up on the screen. So
yeah. Yeah, well, I just saw my webcam start shaking. I'm like, what are you guys doing? Sorry about that.
Oh, but really, it's fine with the puppies. We don't have a problem with that at all.
Yeah.
I see. I put it up here, Dave. Sam had asked a question on there. He had asked if you had been to Brushy Mountain State Prison.
I have not. Is that in Tennessee?
I don't know. I haven't been there. Do you know where that's at, David?
I believe so. I'd love to go there.
Really?
Yeah.
Well,
that's right.
Yeah. I don't
You won't
know
be disappointed.
If Sam, are you still on here? If you have, can you tell us a little bit about where it's located or anything about it? He says yes, it is. It's in Tennessee.
Yeah, I thought so.
Yeah. I've not been there, but it probably wouldn't be too far from where you're at, Clarissa. So that's something to check into.
Yep. Just about all the locations.
Definitely worth it.
So I know you're talking about how, you're booking up, pretty far ahead of time and trying to plan out where you're going. Mm-hmm. How many, do you stay pretty busy every day doing readings, or how often do you do them?
So I do have a regular daytime job. So I don't do readings every day. I usually do readings based off of whenever people reach out to me. So since I changed my platform used to be only for mediumship. I changed my platform to be all inclusive in the paranormal. I don't get the requests online as often, but I do get a lot of referrals. Usually people that find me don't know I'm a medium until I say I'm a medium to them, or if they've seen anything like the Ghoulie TV show on YouTube that I mentioned in my bio, or one of the other shows. Otherwise, they think I'm just another paranormal team. But Unveil Paranormal is my platform that I use now, as opposed to using a mediumship page. So basically, I get a lot of referrals, and then any other time, it's usually somebody's reached out to me. I get a lot of people that met me at a Paracon that reach out to me at a later date. I get people I meet on show that reach out to me at a later date. That's usually kind of how I work. People don't usually find me on their own unless they know somebody that knows who I am. A lot of the residentials I've had have been referrals because in our area, there's not a lot of mediums. So I kind of get the call for that. So, yeah.
So you're saying residentials, like you do a lot of investigations of private homes and things then?
Yes. Yeah. So for a private home, people who think their house is haunted or are having issues, I'll team up with another team, or I'll go with one other person, depending on what kind of services they're looking for. I do not charge, and I've actually kind of changed it to where I'm asking people who want residentials to have a team picked out first, and then I will come along with the team. And I changed that because as an individual person, because individually I'm a medium, but I'm part of a paranormal team, sometimes it's hard for me to put together a team because the team I'm part of is nationwide. It's not local only. So it kind of makes it really hard. I don't know if you're familiar with things, THINGS. It means the Hoosier something, something, something. I can't ever remember what it means. But it's nationwide now. So in order to do a residential, I have to put together a whole team.
Out of those residential investigations that you've done and everything, probably like the most serious one you'd say? I mean, you don't have to give the name or specifics.
yeah.
I was just wondering what kind of, like, were any of them really bad, or is there a
I've
lot of-
not had a residential that's been too severe. As in, I've never come across anything demonic in a residential, and a lot of these people come to you, and paranormal is not the only issue going on. Sometimes there is mental health issues, and sometimes there is drug issues going on. I've been in houses where I can see that stuff's going on. I try to keep an open mind that it can or cannot be paranormal. I always want to cross out anything, even as a medium. But if I walk in there and I see something or feel something, I'm going to tell them. I mean, the worst things I've seen in a lot of residentials are spirits affecting children. None of them, again, have been demonic, but I've seen it in at least 2 cases that I can think of at the top of my head where the spirits were affecting the children pretty badly. One specifically was making the child violent, and I could feel that and hear that. Still, again, not demonic, but it definitely was a negative entity. So that's probably the worst of what I've seen in a lot of these residentials.
So, like, say in that situation, for instance, where you did realize it was a spirit and they were messing with that kid and, making the child violent and things. Did you help them with removing that, or did you then hand off, once you gave them that information, did they have the rest of the team take care of that, or how did they approach that?
Yep. So that was a case that I was brought in on as the medium to do the walkthrough. So I did the walkthrough. I explained the situation to them, and I explained to them what we could do and could not do to cleanse the house. They were working with the team at the same time as working with me. After I left that house, though, I never heard from them again. Now, the team, I consulted the team. Have you heard from this person? Because when you're sitting across from them, they're like, oh, I want to get this resolved. And this happens a lot in residentials. They'll say they want to get it resolved. They want to get it resolved. They want to get it resolved. If you suggest something like a cleansing something, they're like, okay. And they'll disappear. It happens until paranormal stuff starts heightening again. And then you'll get that phone call again. You'll get that text message again. It tends to happen. It's because when people they go into fear, and then you walk in and you help ease them a little bit, and they think, okay, I'll be okay for a while. Like, it's not as bad as I thought it was going to be. So we'll be okay for a while. And then it picks up again. So they contact you again. That's kind of how a lot of residentials have played out for me. This one specifically, like I said, I don't even think, from what I've understood from the team I've talked to last time, they didn't even reach back out to the team that had me come back in. So I don't know. I hope they got the help they needed. That's all I have to say when that happens.
Though, when you think about it, that's kind of like people do with doctors too. Like, if you get sick, you go to the doctor when you're hurting really, really bad, and they fix it, make you feel a little better, but they tell you it's a bigger issue and you need to follow up and do this or that. People get feeling better, and they don't ever follow up.
Yes.
So it starts hurting again, and then when it starts hurting again, that's when you go back to the doctor. So, I mean, it's kind of human nature, I guess.
Yes, it is.
Even though it's silly, and I don't know why we do it, but
yeah, absolutely.
You just want to get it out of sight, out of mind, and things get better, I guess.
And I don't take it personally if they reach out to me again. If they don't, if it's meant for me to help them, I just feel like it will happen. So I kind of put a lot of my life into the hands of the universe, which I never did. I was very controlling, but now I just kind of let things happen. And if they don't reach out to me, it's not meant to be. If I have a feeling that I need to reach out to them, I will, because occasionally I get that feeling. Occasionally I'm like, I need to check in with these people. Like, I just feel like I need to. So
I remember what you said, and I'm working on it.
Yes, I did.
What did you tell him? What's he working on?
Well, since readings are confidential, I mean, do you want me to? Although we did do it on a live show, so
I have nothing from her.
Okay, or anybody viewing. So, David, what would you say the main thing out of the reading I did for you about 2 weeks ago? What would you say you really took away? I know we just talked about it recently.
Well, I was just blown away because you were right on every point.
Well, that's good.
Yeah,
know?
and I don't know what exactly you said exactly. I talked to you about, but he said that your reading was really, really accurate, and he highly recommended you. I think he even recommended you like on his Dark Hope Paranormal page, and he done some posts telling people how good you did.
Yeah.
Yep,
I mean, I've been read before, obviously, you know, in the past. You know, I've got other friends that do it as well, but I mean, it really moved me.
well, I try to stay when I do these readings. I try to stay as genuine as possible. So if it clicked with you and it made sense with you, I'm glad to hear that. And I don't know, as you've seen with the readings, I'm very critical of other readers, which I shouldn't be like that, but I try not to ask too many questions. I try not to do cold readings or hot readings, and so, but you know, my reading style is actually usually not tarot cards. David was on my show where I read tarot cards. I started doing that just for fun, like last year, just to be silly, because I've always said I don't read tarot. I have no idea what any of these cards mean, any of that. And when I read for you, David, I don't know if you knew that, but I don't read tarot. I read pictures. I read name. Like I usually when I do a reading, I need a picture and just the first name only. That's all I want, and then I'll read that, or I read people face to face, or I read properties. If you go back to my stuff, you'll see that I talked about how I don't read tarot. So just so you know, it's really,
That's fine.
to me, tarot is a tool. It's something that we can use to help us along with reading for somebody. I don't know the name. I don't know the cards. I don't know what they're supposed to mean. I just know what I feel and which card I'm drawn to for that person. So,
but a lot of tarot, there are people. I mean, you can go out and buy a tarot deck and it has a little booklet with it and read it and try to. People do that, but that's not really what tarot is like. And I agree with you; it is a tool to do readings. But I think that when people are using it, like you're saying, as a tool, and also along with it, reading, using their feelings and their intuitive, gifts, and their and looking at like the cards, and maybe you don't know what it means, but you see something on that card that jumps out at you that has a meaning that you think this person needs to know this, and that is a true tarot reading, even though in my opinion you do tarot if that's how you're doing it. And
that is how I'm doing it.
And the people that you're saying I don't do that's not really tarot. They're not really doing it right, in my opinion. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it does.
Yeah.
And that's how I pulled the cards, was how I felt like there was something on this card that needed to be said. But I know that tarot cards have meanings per the book, and I don't look at the book. So that's where I'm like, I don't know if I'm really doing it right.
Well, and I want to tell you, I don't think with any of those tools, like if you look at any tools with paranormal, I don't know that you're going to have people out there that say this is the right way or the wrong way to use it. But I don't know that there is a right or wrong necessarily.
Right.
I think it's how you get accurate information. And your reading of David was very accurate, and you used tarot, so to me you're reading it right, and so
Yeah.
I just think, and I know a lot of people that do tarot that go just buy the book, this is what this card means, blah blah blah. But I know there are other people that tell me no, they even seek out and find like certain decks that speak to them with certain artwork or whatever, and that's, they're drawn to that, and they use what the pictures mean to them more than what the book says. So I do know there's different ways that people use that tool of tarot, and I think that all of them have a place. I mean, it's like I said, whatever works.
Yeah. So. Absolutely. I mean, I think, however somebody does their readings, I mean, it doesn't really matter how they do it, as long as they're doing it and it's genuine and it's legit and it makes sense. And so,
yeah, I think so too, and I'm sure you're helping lots of people with that, and that's wonderful. I mean, that's really, really good, and like I said, I know David didn't have enough nice things to say about you. He talked a lot after that experience.
Thank you.
He really appreciated it. So, That's right. It looks like Things Network's joined us here, and I was telling them we're glad they're here.
Yep.
I had to come out here and at least support my teammate.
Yep. Things, that is the team I'm part of. And Things Network is where I stream my own podcast. So I also stream it on my own Facebook also and YouTube page, but that's where it started, was in Things Network.
Okay. Well, and so I know as far as we're talking about places that you've been recently, we talked about places you have coming up. Is there any place that you can think of that this year I plan to get to this place somehow, or I really hope I do? Like, do you have like a dream investigation that you really want to get to, or try to save up money to do, or something?
Yeah, well, I mean, I have a lot of dream investigations that I would love to do. One location has been on my bucket list for years, and for some strange reason, I keep missing the opportunities to investigate there. It's kind of ridiculous because this location is literally only an hour, maybe an hour away from me. There's no reason I keep missing these investigations, and it's supposed to be one of the most haunted places here in my area. So everybody I've talked to is like, it's scary. That's what they tell me. And that location is Randolph County Infirmary. I don't know if you're familiar with it. It's located in, Winchester, Indiana. It's been featured on, what was it most recently featured? On Destination Fear. It was on there. It was on a couple other ones. Literally maybe an hour away from me. I'm told it's one of the scarier places around here, and I have yet to go. I don't know if the spirits are trying to keep me away from that area, or if it's just irony that I just have not made it there. Right. Just about any other location in this area I've been to. But Randolph County, and I've been to Randolph County, the actual county. They have the Stone Mansion there. They have, and I've been there, they have, they used to have the Para Cafe 101, which actually burned down last summer. Used to be there, but all in the same city, but I've never been to Randolph County Infirmary.
Wow. Crazy. Well, your team there at Things Network says that they're going to get you there eventually. So that's the
good luck, because I have many teams that say, "Hey, you're going to come along with us," and it hasn't happened. So I wish you luck on that. But yeah, it's definitely something. I even booked it last year. I actually booked it in August. I booked it, invited friends to come, and then I forgot that my friend from the East Coast was visiting that week. I had my weeks all messed up, and I was like, no. So this investigation ended up happening, but without me. I'm like, I don't know. I give up.
Well, they have a good question here for you. It says, have you ever been to a place, like one of the places you've investigated or been to, and it calls to you to come back to it again?
Absolutely. And usually the ones that call me back are the ones that I have bad experiences at. And it's really weird because I didn't think I'd be a fighter in the paranormal. Like when something scary happens, I didn't think I'd be a fighter. But when something bad goes on in a location, I get defensive. And then I'm like, I want to go back there. I have to face this. Like, it's really weird. I never thought I'd be that way. So Rhodes Hotel, I don't know if you know where that's at. That's in Atlanta, Indiana. Rhodes Hotel, my first experience there, I was in a room that they call the tuberculosis room. You know, every room has a story. This is their story, the tuberculosis room story, okay? Some boy died in there, whatever. Okay, I don't know, okay? I was in that room with a friend, and suddenly I started feeling really ill. I could feel the energy coming up. It's a long hallway, so it used to be like a hotel. Well, obviously Rhodes Hotel. The energy started coming through the hallway. Black energy started coming through the hallway. Me and my friend sit across from something. Our eyes get really big. We know it's coming. And it comes around the corner. The doorway starts filling up with blackness. And I'm like, we need to leave. And usually I don't say that. I rarely ever say that, but I just like, we need to leave. And before I could even get up, I just felt so ill. And he's already up and like gone. I'm like, okay. So I get up, and the next thing I know, I'm going down the stairs. So I literally went through this black mass or whatever to get out of the room, but don't really remember it. It all happened so fast. I just like, it was like one breath. Bam, I was at the steps and going down the steps. And I just felt so sick and so ill. Well, of course I had to go back.
Yeah.
I had to go back. It wasn't a matter of I'm never going back there again. It was the opposite. It was like, I have to go back there. I have to like discover what this was. I went back last year to the Rhodes Hotel. I even slept there that night. Didn't have the same experience at all. I was kind of disappointed. I sat in that room. I wasn't feeling the same energy. I was like, I came back for this. I came back to face whatever it was. And, it could have easily been. And the thing you got to consider when you're at these locations is not just the location, but who's at the hunt with you. Did they bring something with them? Is it their energy, not the location?
Well, and sometimes, don't you think that sometimes certain energies are attracted to certain people?
Sorry, I love your pug grunt.
Huh?
I had a moment when I heard your pug grunt. I was like,
yeah, well, she's right here and she keeps grunting.
I love it.
But, she sounds like a little pig sometimes when I'm on the phone with people.
Yeah.
But no, I was saying, like, I think sometimes certain people, it might not be an energy they brought with them, but I think certain things maybe are more attractive to certain people or tend to come out for certain people more than others or something. So I wondered about that. And did you see what things said there about you? They said for such an organized person, she's not very well organized. So I think they're teasing you a little bit there.
Yeah. They make fun of me because I'm actually, speaking of being organized, I am hosting Para Unity 5, which is going to be located in Peru, Indiana on October 21st. I'm the host, and we have a committee and things as part of that committee. And that's how they know I'm so organized, because I've got spreadsheets and everything for this stuff. So
what's the name of it again?
It's called Para Unity 5.
Okay.
You can find it online. I don't think I have I don't think I gave you the link to the convention page, but it's in Peru, Indiana. So if you look on Facebook for Para Unity 5, it will pop up.
Okay, I'll find it and we'll post about it and everything. And I'm sure the other people that are on here will, that Sam and David will also share out on the other pages as well.
Heck yeah.
Yeah, and we are accepting vendors. It's only $25 for a booth. Santiago Carrillo will be there. That's one of our guest celebrities we have so far. I think he's down there in Kentucky with you guys, or with you. So yeah.
Here is a Jill S. here to support you. And
thank you.
We're glad you're here, Jill. But yeah, I think that'd be great. We'll definitely share that out and so people can get involved and stuff. I can't make fun of anybody about spreadsheets and things. I'm awful. I make lists of my list and my family. I have an issue. I don't know if David even knew that. And we used to go Christmas shopping together, me and my cousins, and I would have like these little color coded lists.
Yeah.
And they'd be like just randomly looking for stuff. I'd be like, no, I have to go. And they always make fun of me about it. So I understand.
Yeah.
and I'm the same way that I am not very organized about other things. Like I'm super list oriented, but I still struggle with stuff.
Yeah.
Oh, it says they got to get going because they have to get ready for their own shows. Somebody's got.
I think that's probably Jeremy. I'm gonna guess he's the one. Jeremy York is the founder of Things and Things Network.
Oh, okay. What's his show? Is it on just Things Network?
Tonight it's just on Things Network through Facebook, YouTube. He has his shows on like Twitch. LinkedIn. He is on every platform you can think of.
Well, that's awesome. That's great.
Their show tonight, I think, is Supernatural Talk, I believe is what they have.
Okay. So if anybody wants to join in on that after we get off here, that sounds like that's going to be coming on next. And so you can just head over that way and support them, because I'm sure it'll be a great one. I was trying to think. There was something else. Do you have anything, David, that you can think of right off that you wanted to ask Clarissa tonight?
If she'd mind being on here again.
I love interviewing people. That's what I do on my show. Most time, I used to interview more often than I have been lately. But I do enjoy being interviewed.
Well, I feel like it's more. I don't know how great of an interviewer we all are, but we like just to talk. That's what David and I do pretty good about, just talking to people. So I guess it's kind of interviewing.
Yeah. I mean, that's the casual chatting is an interview. That's just how it is. That's how you have to look at it. Yeah. So I always, when I first started my podcast, I actually had a list of questions that I would ask if they were a paranormal investigator, if they were a medium, if they were I just had my own, there we go with the list. Yeah. But I don't do it anymore. You just naturally kind of just get into it after a while.
Yeah. I do know one of the things I was going to ask towards the beginning, I forgot something you said, made me think of it, but do you have, a lot of people I know when they go into these investigations or they're going in as a medium, they have not a ritual, but like a little process they do to protect themselves before they go in, or certain crystals they use, or certain, things they do or say, or, what, do you have your own way of protecting yourself before you go in, and kind of what do you do?
Yeah. So I still feel like I'm on my spiritual journey, right? I'm still learning, right? I didn't have that base to go off of. So I'm still learning. So of course I believe in the universe and higher power that's going to protect me. But I do enjoy crystals. I always have amethyst. Amethyst, I'm biased of. I think it's because I'm a February baby. But I have definitely always got my amethyst. If I feel like it's not going to be a safe situation, then I will bring along some hematite. Usually is my go-to. Sometimes tiger eye, whatever I'm feeling and I gravitate to. I will literally look in my jewelry drawer and all my crystals and stuff and be like, what does it feel like is going on? Usually when I get an invite to do a blind walkthrough, which is what I prefer, I will go to these ghost hunt, what I call a paid location. You pay to play is how my friends call it. So I go to a lot of those blind. I know a lot of them the information is available online. I try to avoid doing any type of online research. I don't, like I said, I don't watch any of the paranormal shows. So I try to do my best to go in blind. Because typically if people tell me information about a location, I get more stressed out than if I go in blind. It's kind of weird. It stresses me out knowing that everybody's expecting me to pick up on a certain story about the location. And sometimes you walk in and that's not always the story you get. For example, Rhodes Hotel, they have Sarah's room. There is a whole story about Sarah if you go to Rhodes Hotel. I heard Sarah's story. But I actually sat in that room probably the second time I was there, because I've been there 3 times. And I've done my own reading about Sarah. And do I necessarily disagree with everything? No. But I feel like there's missing elements to her story that I think should be shared. So it's just going in as blind as possible. Same thing when I read for people. It's just so much easier for me than getting the whole story. But you were asking about rituals. So this is where I get unorganized, is in conversation. Okay, I'm like ADHD all over the place.
No, all that was good because I actually.
It's fine.
Yeah, it was great and David and I, that's actually something we typically ask people is do they prefer to go in blind or do they prefer to research it?
Yeah.
So you kind of answered something that I forgot to ask that I normally do ask. You know
Yeah,
what I mean? So we want to know that too.
Right. So yeah, I would rather go in blind as I possibly can. Now, you asked about rituals, so I do have crystals I usually wear. I don't usually pray or anything like that, but I do talk kind of in my head, like to protect me and protect that. So I guess in a way it's a prayer in my own mind. I don't sit there and be like, anything like that. Now, sometimes before I go into a blind read or going in blind at a location, I will have dreams about it. I will have feelings about it prior to, and then I will jot those down and then take them with me. That tends to happen quite a bit when I have a residential. As soon as I start talking to that person, I get that question. It just starts clicking. What's going on at the house? Because I can pretty much do a residential from a distance. I could sit here on the video and do a residential, as opposed to actually having to go there. I prefer to go to the location because I just feel so much more stronger about the energy.
So do you do actual like remote viewing, call it, or do you get the information in dreams and other ways?
Sorry, my dog. I will not say I do remote viewing because I just think that would open a whole can of worms out there. But I will say I have visited locations outside of my physical viewing when I've done readings for people. I did a phone reading with somebody who was about an hour away from here, and I literally went into the woods that they were talking about. I explained the trails they were discussing. They were, all they said was, you need to come out to this one area. And I said, hold on, tell me that again and let me get in the zone. Because if I do a reading, I literally will forget half of the things I say. And I think me and David talked about this via chat. Because I told him, I said, David, I have to watch the video again. I don't remember what our conversation is. Because I will go into a zone like no other. I also, when I do readings, it's really weird. So I know we're going wayside. I'm going to keep chatting if that's okay. I did a reading for somebody. I drove up to a local library up in Fort Wayne, which is the bigger city near me. I sat in the library and I met this couple who wanted me to read a boyfriend. Son was murdered. They wanted a reading on it because it was an unsolved crime. As I was reading for them, I decided it was one of those readings I wanted to write down information while I was reading. So I started writing all that stuff. I got done reading for them. And like I said, I was just so zoned. I had realized that the pen was on my left-hand side. I am not left-handed. So I looked at them and I said, did I just write that left-handed? And she's like, you've been writing left-handed since you started reading. I'm like, I'm right-handed. So, but then they say, well, his son is left-handed. So I was channeling this person so much that I had taken on the ability to write left-handed. And I do this in other ways. I'll start talking like someone. I'll use mannerisms like someone. I'll use phrases like someone. That's usually what happens. It's usually not me picking up a pen with my left hand. So when I did that, this was like maybe 3 years into me reading publicly. And I was like, what is happening? I was like, okay. So some people are like, well, were you possessed? I don't know. It's just literally, I am this person here for them. They can just consume what they need to consume to get their message out. And I open myself up to it. And I've never put myself in a situation where I think that I put anybody in danger or myself. But that is a story that I tell quite often, because it even blows my mind that actually occurred. So
That's so interesting. I mean, that's really wild. That is. That's amazing, and that's a true gift. I mean, it has. It is. Um, I just can't. I don't know. I don't know how that works. I mean, I know that people have those gifts and things, but it's amazing when you see it actually happen. I'm sure those people didn't know what to think when they realized you weren't left-handed.
yeah, we sat there and like looked at each other with like this, like just like what just happened. And we're sitting in the public library. It's not like we were in a haunted location, or, like a haunted, like a said haunted location. We were sitting in a public library in a conference room. And yeah, that's how I got the message out. So I don't know if that case ever got resolved, because that girl and that guy ended up breaking up, and I actually just stayed friends with that girl. So I have no idea if it got solved. I hope it did.
I hope so too. And it may have. I mean, who knows if you hear back from it? It may have been, something that helped.
I'm sure it helped.
Yeah.
I hope so too. I mean, I don't do like, there's some mediums who work with police officers, or they say they're a psychic detective or whatever. I don't do that. But because I got in trouble for reading for some families and publicizing it, and I didn't get really in trouble. They just they didn't know. Somebody had asked me to read a true crime, and I read it, and the mother to the missing woman contacted me and was like, "Who told you to read that?" And I'm like, "A friend." And she's like, "That's my daughter." I'm like, okay. So never again. If a family wants to come to me and ask me to, then I will. But those stay private now. Lesson learned.
I wouldn't have thought. So you're saying, like, if the person that's somebody not related to the victim asks you, just don't do that. It has to be the actual family. Is that
I'll do them in private. Like, we've had several crimes in the area that I've just sat down myself and done readings. I have a book that I keep here at my house that has those readings. Nobody knows what they are when they read them, because when I do readings, it's hard to understand what I'm trying to say, because it's literally just thoughts.
Yeah.
It's like brainstorming. But I do do my own little readings for a lot of true crimes.
Yeah. Well, I mean, that's wild too. I mean, I would think that would be a whole different set of different type of information you'd be getting in a different way, and it's probably just very different than like a walkthrough of a home or something.
Yes, very, very different.
Yeah, and I would think that in a way those would be more stressful. Are they?
They can be. I try to stray away from doing readings for children who have passed or become missing, or because I have kids and it makes me really sensitive to it. So my more human side comes out during those.
Yeah.
But I've done some readings that I would never, ever, ever tell anybody what the result was, because they were so gruesome.
Oh, wow. That's wild. Yeah. But I mean, you have no way to know when you're going into it what you're going to find out. So I could see that, that's the way that would work.
Yeah.
But David, I think we're coming up on the hour mark, and I know Clarissa, I told her I wouldn't keep her more than an hour. She asked me how long we usually talk about an hour or so. But but can you think of? We've got a few minutes left. Is there anything else that you want to ask before we close out?
No. I'm good on my end, I guess.
We would like to have you back again sometime, Chris. And like I said, what I do a lot of times, I'll get off these and then I think of like a million more questions I wish I'd asked, or things that I want to know.
Yeah.
So it's not coming to you right now, but sometime if you have time free in the next few months or something and you want to come back on, we'd love to have you. And I want to try to have, I hadn't got to tell David, but Raymond Newsom, who's over the Newsom Paranormal Group here, I was going to have Raymond on some shows with us too, and maybe we could have you back sometime when he's here too, because I'd say he'd have new questions and different questions as well,
Right.
So that'd be great.
Yeah. Well, thank you for having me. I appreciate it. I'm glad I got to share some of my stories.
Yeah, I am too. It's been great. It's been really interesting. And everybody go and add all her links that we put up there. Follow her on YouTube and everything, and on Facebook. And also, it's Perry Unity 3. You said right for the
5.
five. Sorry, Perry Unity 5
Mm-hmm.
for the that she's helping to set up and everything. So if you want to look for that, and I'll try to find that link and put it up on the group too.
Yeah, absolutely.
So, and everybody that's here that we've seen in the chat, thank you for talking in the chat, and thank you for being here and supporting her and supporting us. And we just appreciate everybody.
Yep, thank you.
Okay, thank you all so much. And I guess we'll let everybody go then until next time. I will go try to catch that your teammates show there on Things Network.
Yep. Yeah, go to Things Network. Show some love there.
See y'all later. Okay.
Bye, everybody.
Bye.
Bye.